Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady checking in with a late September garden tour here in the backyard of the White House, where I've got these incredible foodscapes that are, well, blowing my mind and keeping me occupied harvesting. So I can't wait to show you some comparison pictures in today's video of what these beds looked like when they were planted compared to what they are looking like now that we are in the last week of September. So I hope you'll enjoy today's weekly garden tour. All right, this side of the greenhouse was planted on June 10th, and it was done predominantly from plants that I had pre-sprouted in trays, but then also a little bit of direct seeding. So my friend Judson was here and he helped me, and we got the coleus planted and the Tabasco peppers, the eggplants. We did a whole line of mangave, many of which actually died because it was too wet earlier in the summer. Now, of course, it's so incredibly dry. And then from seed, I actually did the cotton and the okras. And they have just thrived so much. It's incredible. Like, this will probably never happen again because the nematodes will get woken up. But this is year one for a bed here. We broke ground on this on January 1st. And so the first year of a garden here in North Carolina is always the best year because you don't have any real major disease or pest problems. 3 years from now, I probably won't even be able to grow okra in this bed because of the root knot nematodes. It's just part of the reality of it. But I am so pleased with how this foodscape turned out. Now, this side was predominantly pre-sprouted in trays and then planted with appropriate spacing. Okay, so that's a totally different concept compared to the other side of the greenhouse that I want to give you an up-close view on. All right, this side was actually planted on June 28th. We did this as one of the hands-on experiments or hands-on demonstrations for a greenhouse class. And this was all done from seed. So they look different. And there was a while, like maybe a good month, where I thought this looked better, but this is starting to get where it doesn't look as good. However, we've got lots of productivity. So we've got cushaw squash coming on. We've got lots of jalapeno peppers across the front. Tons and tons of sesame seeds. I'm going to be able to make so much tahini this year. It is going to be exceptionally wonderful. Now, the corn did produce, but they've dried out. And actually, I haven't even looked to see what they look like. No, they don't look good. So, actually, that doesn't look terrible all the way through. And oh my gosh, this actually might be ready to be eaten. Okay, I didn't mean to pull the entire plant off, but I need to go ahead and harvest these corns. So you guys know, I'm a native Midwesterner, and I do love corn. And this is Silver Queen. This had some damage from a corn earworm, but it's delicious. Obviously, it's not cooked. And the flavor is so good. It's sweet and crunchy and delicious. I mean, yeah. You could cook it and add some salt. I mean, I can't add butter, but that would be awesome if I could. It's good. I know it's not very impressive, but there are 4 ears from that bed. And I didn't really have to do much to make that possible. I mean, obviously they're not going to win any awards at the state fair, but it is 4 ears of fresh corn that I get to eat. So that's actually pretty cool. All right, so I got completely distracted with the corn, but you can see that the grain sorghum is starting to set seed. Now, of course, not in the right spot in the bed. I thought this was cane sorghum, and I thought it was going to get very tall, but it's not. So good distinction. But this is great bird seed, And it's just a really easy to grow, quite beautiful plant. And you can see how when it's grown in a clump, it looks very much like an ornamental grass. And we harvested the rice from these yesterday. There's still some more seed, but another successful rice growing experiment in the veggie cube bags. So this is like hitting the easy button for growing rice. There's no excuse if you have an interest in growing rice. There's no excuse not to do it. It's super easy and fun. And really, I like how this bed looks from this angle, which is the backwards angle of looking at it. But, you know, with this front border of the cushaw squash and then the sorghum and then the taller elements in the back, which are the sesame, the okra, the cosmos, the zinnias. So it's always important to think about how a bed is going to be laid out. And, you know, this isn't the main viewing place, but that view is actually pretty sensible. Now, this side property border I think is really impressive. And this was planted from seed on July 1st. Today is September 24th. So it's not quite 3 months. And obviously the pumpkin, which I actually think this is another Seminole squash. And the reason that I say that is because I'm seeing some fruits form, and you see it's got that kind of not a round pumpkin look. And there's another one right there. So it looks different than the Seminole, or what I'm calling Seminole, in this other border. Because those fruits are more like a zucchini. It's just possible that I have all my seed mixed up. Or they've all hybridized and the seed just doesn't make any sense, which is also very possible. This really has become a solid wall, which is exactly what I was aiming for. Great ground plane coverage. The deer are eating, look, all along this edge, which is fine because that's giving the garlic, you know, some light. It's funny though, it looks like they chomped a garlic. They only had to do it once because none of the other garlics are chomped. And Ava Grace just wants to be a part of this video. She's following me around. And oh my goodness, oh my gosh, you guys. I showed you this caterpillar in yesterday's video, but it only had those two up there. Now look at it. It's completely covered in wasp cocoons. But I didn't notice this one yesterday. And there's another one. Must have gotten inoculated by the wasp at the same time. These are big hornworms though. Obviously I haven't been paying that much attention. Well, and speaking of paying attention, I've missed some big Seminole pumpkins. This is definitely a Seminole pumpkin. You see, it looks like a pumpkin. And it will turn orange. And this is too big to eat like a zucchini. So now I'm just going to let that one ripen. That'll be seed for next year because I think the Seminole is the best. Although, whatever that patch is looking really good. So I'm going to make sure I save seed from fruit from that as well. And maybe I'll just call it like sycamore squash and this bed squash. I don't know. I think there might be some hybridization going on, and that's why every one I look at is different. But this is definitely Seminole. Here's another pumpkin. Here's another. And again, these are a little too big to eat the easy way. So I'm just going to go ahead and let them ripen. I'll have plenty of pumpkins for Halloween. It's nice to see the cosmos are finally blooming and the deer right now are leaving those zinnias alone. And I've got lots of corn in this border. It doesn't look quite ready. And then this is another variety of sorghum here, which I don't know what it is. That variety down there, the really tall one, that's for sure cane sorghum. I'm gonna give you an up close view of that in a minute. But I wanted to show you here, I was calling this mystery squash with ugly foliage. It's a jack-o'-lantern. I completely forgot that I planted some jack-o'-lantern seed, but I did. And I found a picture. And they're coloring up, and I've got 4. 2 are pretty small at this point, but that's okay. So that's kind of fun. I would have thought that a jack-o'-lantern would have been more round. These are very oval. But I don't like it just in general from an aesthetic perspective. And I don't really think that a jack-o'-lantern is all that practical for my eating habits. So I probably won't grow this one again. But we can use them for holiday decoration. All right, I just spotted. Now this will be ready tomorrow. It's a little young at that size, you see? But by tomorrow I should harvest that and then it'll be perfect. That's the Seminole pumpkin. Well, I'm super intrigued with this sorghum here. And this is cane sorghum. It's meant to be pressed and then you essentially create molasses from its stalks, from the sugary juice that comes out of the stalks. But I'm really happy that it's flowering because I'd like to get more seed from it. And sorghum is just so elegant. I love sorghum. And I really love this one because it's so big. And then I didn't know that sorghum could get that growth that corn gets. But it does, apparently. So I need to do some research on that. Smut, that's what it's called. And I know it's a delicacy culturally. I don't think I've ever had it before. And I don't know that I'm gonna try it, to be honest. Doesn't look super appetizing. It's way up there. But it's sorghum, not corn. They are closely related. Well, the plantings here are kind of boring, but you know, that's okay. Most everything came from the wall when I replanted it, and that is looking great. And I will post a containers video, as I've been promising. But you know, this area gets eaten by deer. I haven't watered it very well. Does not have a lot of good soil. So the fact that there are even tomatoes alive and peppers that are producing feels like a win. Also got some sweet potato, which will probably be gone tomorrow because the deer will be like, oh my God, why did we leave that? And speaking of the deer, they discovered last night that they like to eat eggplants. So, and they do love to eat tomatoes. I used to say they didn't eat plants in the nightshade family. I don't think that's accurate. They used to not eat plants in the nightshade family, but now they do. Well, I had to get in the bed because I wanted to show you the cotton from behind. So these are cotton balls, and you can see the very earliest ones are starting to puff. And this is wet because I ran a sprinkler in here. But you see there is cotton. And there's a whole bunch of them. And I like to use them as Christmas decoration. I think they're really cool. Very southern signature. And they're still growing and blooming. Like here's a flower. So it's pretty cool that the cotton is done so well. It gets really big when you water it and put it in good soil. And I have to show you how enormous this okra has gotten. It's so exciting that I actually feel like I'm in an okra forest when I come in here to harvest. It's super cool, and it certainly is keeping me motivated. Well, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this weekly garden tour, and I hope you'll tune in tomorrow to see how all the native borders are doing. As always, thanks so much for watching, and happy gardening.